What's up, everybody? It's me again. It's TeaRon. That's TeaRon period. And it is another Tuesday, so we are doing another movie review. And since it's Tuesday, I have here with me.
Hey everybody, it's TeaRon and Janee. I'm happy to be back and here to do another review for y'all today.
All right, and along with Tiera Janee, the co-host for today, I have here with me as well
Joseph's little bro. So
Joseph's little bro.
Joseph is Joseph's little bro. I love that.
Well, I want to point out, because we if you read the title, you know what we're getting into, but I want to point out that these are three very unique perspectives going into this particular film, because everyone's in like a different time zone. Everyone has gotten to know or had a experience with the legacy of Bob Marley in a different way. And I want to kind of shed light on that, since we kind of have these different perspectives. So we're gonna get into that. Tiera,
yes,
you had the pleasure of experiencing this film in a more authentic way than Joseph and I.
yeah.
And that is because you are currently on an island where I'm sure that the legacy of Bob Marley is beloved, of course. So just before we get into the review, what was your experience like going to the theater to watch this? What was going on?
Gotta say, my experience was it was better than I thought. I just was expecting to go to a movie and, see the movie and go on home. But when I got there, there was a reggae band outside the theater playing Bob Marley music. They had a complimentary rum punch because, of course. And then, so just to explain to the audience, I am on the island of Grenada. So, like you mentioned, it's a Caribbean island, and the legacy of Bob Marley is alive and well here. You hear reggae all the time. You hear Bob Marley's music all the time. Also, a little fun fact: Grenada, the colors of their flag are red, green, and yellow. So, also the same colors of the Rastafarian flag. So it's the red, green, and yellow is alive and well. It's all over the island. So, like, just having the experience here was super, super dope. It felt really authentic. Not Jamaica, but close enough.
Closer than where I
closer
am.
than you.
That's for sure. I when I got to go to the movies, now you know me, I don't play with everybody's kids, so I specifically choose a matinee, and the reason I like to go during matinee time, which is like noon-ish, is because I don't like to feel like if I go and see something and I'm feeling away, I don't like to feel like I lost too much money.
Okay.
So my experience was a sparsely filled theater. So maybe like 8 people in there. Everybody was spread out, which I like. I don't like anybody near me. And I snuck in my snacks, no rum punch.
Okay. All right.
So I was not under the influence while watching this. I was very sober. What about you, Joseph? When you went to the theater, what was the aura, the environment like? Were you?
So I dragged myself in there, and
Wait,
there was no aura.
Mean? What does that mean?
I was last second. I was late almost, but when I came in there, I was just like, okay, this is not the scene and crowd that I expected to be at this movie.
Who was there?
Oh, yes, tell us.
There was majority Caucasian people.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't know. I just suspect for like this kind of film to be more people of color showing out. But to my surprise, it was a good mixed crowd. And
did you find that it was older white people or like younger?
It was a mix. Like it was a mix of older and younger people. So I was pretty surprised by how culturally aware that some of the crowd were.
Interesting. I mean, I can say that there were 0 white people when I went to the theater.
Oh,
Not
wow.
I mean,
one.
you had a whole presentation happening, so
It's
it,
true.
I can assume that by the time we get to the rating, that yours is going to be different because your overall movie going experience was a little different.
Maybe.
The tone was set before you even got inside the
Maybe it was
theater.
set.
So let's get into it.
Yes.
So we are reviewing Bob Marley's One Love film, which came out on Valentine's Day.
Mhm.
And this is the trailer. Check it out and we'll get into it.
Yeah, so that was the beautiful trailer. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, the synopsis of this film, it's a biography. I wouldn't say a biography, but it's a story of Bob Marley and how he overcame adversity and the journey behind his revolutionary music. That's really all that the website gives for the synopsis of it, because it is what it is. It's pretty straightforward, you know?
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Oh Lord, let's get into it. Let's go.
well, I'm just saying when you think about, so a few years back there was that Marley documentary that came out,
Mhm.
which was really well done, covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
and all I could think was, okay, how are they going to top that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Many people who get into Bob Marley, they kind of already have an idea of the legacy, or they know sections of it. They know some of the music, they know some of the stories. There's bits and pieces here.
Sure.
What I think One Love does successfully is very little. What they did, what they did.
What? What? That's not where I thought you were gonna
Listen,
say. Okay.
listen.
Yes. Mhm.
I watched the movie,
Yeah.
and when I left the movie, I was like, if I had missed this,
Mhm.
nothing would have changed. I mean, I would have saved my money. I would my $10.
Wow.
I was not impressed by this at all when I'm holding it up next to such a great documentary that they gave us, and I'm seeing the full Bob Marley story in that
Mhm.
documentary, and then I see this film that sort of tells a section, but it seems like they just try to airbrush dude's legacy. It was very more so focused on making him a hero and
Mhm.
airbrushing away like the blemishes and stuff. But I think that goes against what Bob Marley himself maybe would have wanted in something like this, because all those things, his outside relationships and so on, kind of made him. But it
Mhm.
is what it is. Joseph, I want to ask you, being the youngest on this recording right now, your idea of Bob Marley, and then going into this film, what did you get?
Hmm.
Run it
So
down.
I vaguely knew about him. I knew he was a popular reggae artist. He had a big impact on the music industry. And I really just thought of him as like somebody who smoked a lot of weed and made good, good vibe songs, which in the movie they presented him as, making good vibe music. But I was more expecting for him to be smoking some more weed, to be honest. I wanted to see more of that side.
Ah.
Oh God. I
Because they really
mean,
didn't capture they didn't really capture that part of his lifestyle, which I think they could have more.
oh gosh. Oh gosh. Let's get into some of the performance as well, Tiera, and then we'll kind of round it out. But
Yeah, we gotta round it up. But before we get into some of the performance, I gotta go back. We're not gonna just glaze past this. I'm sorry. We have to go back. So yes, the documentary was phenomenal. I
yeah,
too
yeah.
watched that years ago prior to this. And then after watching the film, in preparation for us having this conversation, I went back and rewatched the documentary because it's been years.
Yeah.
And I will say they did a great job of mirroring a lot of the key points. Like this story I don't think this movie particularly, I don't think that their goal was to retell his whole life story. They wanted to tell a particular time frame. And I think that they did that.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job of also like making notes of certain points, certain things about his life, like having multiple women with multiple children and this and that. But they didn't like really dwell on that. So I do agree with you that this made him more of a hero. But they did a lot of mirroring that documentary. Like a lot of it was there. So I'm like, and maybe I feel that way because I literally just watched it again.
Yeah.
But
you could find the connections.
And you can't, a movie cannot hold a candle to a documentary. It just can't, because then you're talking to people who were actually there. They're showing actual footage. So I don't know, T. I gotta disagree with you on that. And no, it's not the rum punch. I'm just saying.
It's definitely the rum punch, because
no, it's
here's what.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying, like where you can find some of those connections between the two, but you can also kind of find the omissions between the two. Bob was attached to Cindy, Damian Marley's mom, right?
Yes.
We get the Bob and Rita story, and the truth of the matter is Rita was, there for the bigger picture. She wasn't trying to be there like that, and she knew what Bob was doing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Rita was the EP though. Rita was the EP. That's why we didn't get a lot.
That's the thing too. A lot of the family, made sure they got, these executive producer credits on this project. And for that reason, when the movie starts, we get that disclaimer from Ziggy, hey, we all approve of this pretty much, to, kind of. But what he did with that was he made everyone on the island of Jamaica know exactly who to aim at, and they shot their target because everybody's pissed off.
Yeah. You can't do a movie about Bob Marley and not use a black Jamaican for the use your yard people them. Me sorry to say, no disrespect, but Ziggy Marley, you are excuse me French. I mean, I take it back because you sell out your father.
Child, I went to watch the Bob Marley movie yesterday and it was easily a 3 out of 10, and I'm not being a hater, I'll tell you why. If you grew up in Jamaica, you know the curated version of the Bob Marley story, and I say curated version because it is his story scrubbed clean. We know that story, almost every Jamaican know that story, and if you know the story, you're going to find the movie boring as shit. But if you don't know the story, it's going to be so interesting, especially because the actors and actresses are very good.
Ziggy Marley, me don't know where you and Bob have. I don't know where you, your father, and your brother them have. What kind of movie that, my brother? The movie take 30 minutes for do this worst Amasensia interview. Ziggy, you will answer to these charges. I promise you. You know, it's when the privy court done, Ziggy. I promise you, the Jamaican government is going to take it to court for this you just put out.
Whoever made that Bob Marley movie, me wish nothing by about 7 deadly blood clot sins. That man turning in his grave. If you're not going to tell the full story, then bumbo clot tell it. We want to know what happened to Rita and Sybil. Did they fight for Bob Marley's One Love? You see them white people, they ain't play with Jeffrey Dahmer and then tell him that him and them head, body, body, cocky, all of them bumbo clot there. They got into more details than shadows. We know why Biggs and Wendy want to kill Teddy Buck. I understand. Like the documentary was about music and they kept it about music, I respect that. But blood clot, Bob Marley, I sing our music, why make music and what the music is about? Tell me about in life.
Nobody likes this movie.
Nobody, that's not true.
Number one, let's get into our performers.
Let's get into it. Yep.
Bob himself was played by Kingsley Ben-Adir. Right?
Phenomenal. Amazing. A1.
Kingsley don't look like Marley.
That's okay.
Kingsley don't. And then you know me.
Wait a minute. Did Angela Bassett look like Tina Turner? Don't do this.
But Angela Bassett did a phenomenal job.
And so did Kingsley. He did the work.
Kingsley.
Joseph, thoughts?
It's hard to say. I really don't know what the expectation was, but he didn't capture me that much. But then again, different tastes for different buds. So
I mean, listen.
Mm-hmm.
Let me adjust in my
seat.
Come
on, sit on up, T. Sit on up in your chair. Let's go.
Number one. He's British.
Go ahead, soapbox. Get on your soapbox. Go ahead. I know what's coming. Oh,
The young lady who played Rita. What's her name?
Lashana Lynch.
British. This movie is American funded, right? American studio. It's shot some stuff was shot in Jamaica, some stuff was shot in the UK, I believe.
Come on.
First of all, Bob Marley had like how many kids?
11. That's on record, I think. 11, I think.
So he probably had 22. So then, so my thing is this. He got all them sons. I'm sure they got kids of their own. He probably got great grandkids, I'm sure, at this point. Don't nobody look like Bob? Don't nobody sound like Bob?
No, probably not.
Wait. Don't nobody sound like Bob? I'm sure one of them even smell like Bob. You understand what I'm saying? So there were options there, but also Bob Marley is getting interviewed. Ziggy is getting interviewed, and he goes on record and he says, I wanted to find a Jamaican to play, which would have been the right thing. Okay, let's just cut the crap. The right thing would have been to find a Jamaican actor to portray I wanted to find a Jamaican, Ziggy says, but I couldn't.
You wanted a Jamaican to star. Of course. But you couldn't find someone you like?
We look wide and far. You're looking at the tapes and you see one and you say, you see two and you say, and then you see Kingsley and you're like,
What made you go,
Well, he held my attention.
He's physically different. He's taller.
Yeah. But in my mind, this is an artistic expression of Bob. So the height, that never matter. Because I'm taller than Bob, but to me, Bob was a giant.
So Ziggy is getting all of the smoke right now, y'all. Like, and it's well deserved at this point because the movie, I stayed awake because it was early in the day.
Oh my God.
But Joseph, did you stay awake? Because I know you went in the evening after work. So
I mean, I went too close to bedtime. I'll just say that.
Joseph, y'all are not gonna do this to me on today. Yo, I need the audience to chime in the comments. I need somebody to have my back on this. I know I'm not the only person who enjoyed these performances.
Listen,
performance. I know.
if Jamaica don't, I'm siding with them. And the overwhelming consensus for Jamaica is that they're not feeling it. Bob Marley is beloved the world over. Right. But nobody loves him like the islands, love him. And his legacy goes, it's like the Michael Jackson legacy, right? It goes beyond just the family itself, and it's protected in a lot of ways.
And that's why I think it's almost impossible to make a film like this that's going to please everybody. It is virtually impossible.
But it needs to please the base.
But it's pleased the people that knew him. It pleased the people that knew him directly. Those people.
Then they should have just put a slideshow at the house and looked at old photos together.
Let's do these ratings. No, let's do these ratings.
I don't want to bash too much.
I'm just saying.
I'm sick of you.
Joseph, if you would tell us what happened at the theater, how you feel about the movie, and what you are going to rate this film, because I know where I'm at with it.
Come on, Joseph. Come on.
I said I would give it a Kevin. I'll give it a Kevin.
And why is that?
Just wasn't impressed. I couldn't keep up. I just couldn't understand what was going on. First off, I really didn't understand the language. That's probably my fault, just because I haven't been around the language and the accent much.
They did need subtitles.
I just couldn't. I needed subtitles. Yeah, I couldn't follow. I couldn't follow the dialogue.
I'll give you that. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Didn't you say you left early?
I didn't want to go there. Why did you bring that up? I'm not trying to. That's not what's going to happen for most people. Like I said earlier, I went too close to bedtime. That was my fault mostly. But I'm not saying that's not all in the movie.
You walked out of the theater.
You know what? This is a setup. Joseph is here to have your back. That's what's going on here. This is a setup.
No, I'm not. I didn't say any of that. I'm just saying, like, that was partly my fault. Then again, I was maybe not in the right state of mind. I'll say that.
So is that a them problem or a you problem, Joseph?
That was probably a me problem. Who knows? I mean, it's hard to say.
If I didn't pay money, I probably would have been right on your heels. I myself, I went into this with very mixed expectations already based on the fact that, again, this British takeover is getting on my nerves. I want the Black British actors to be able to share and tell their stories uniquely. I seem to have more fun when that is happening, and I think, again, that is okay. So already I kind of was going into, I was like, oh yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't ever convinced as I'm watching it with Bob Marley implanted in my mind since being, he's kind of always been an existing figure in my head all my life, right? So knowing that and then going into this performance, Kingsley didn't do terrible, I will say. I'm not saying that his performance was bad, but the story itself, just the pacing was slow. It was the lies of omission. The
Goes back because we want to like it. We want to, say opposite.
I am going to give the movie a Jennifer Lewis. I respected the performances. I was bogged down by the story, and it was just too slow for me. But if I had some rum punch and a band outside playing, maybe I would feel different. Tiera, what say you?
So we're gonna end this on a high note.
We need that balance.
It was not just the rum punch and the whole experience of it all. I'm able to separate the two.
Really?
I enjoyed the movie. And this is coming from a person who also watched the documentary. I was not expecting to go into this and see every single bits and pieces of his life. We would have been there all day and all night. And I don't want to do that. I don't. I think for what it was and what they were trying to do, it gave what it needed to give. I think it introduced Bob Marley to a younger generation, a new generation who may not be as familiar with him, although, Joseph went home a little early, but that's okay.
I don't like that. I don't like that was the case, but hey.
Joseph said, look, where's the ganja?
Yeah,
now I'm listening to reggae music though, so I had it. It was influence on me though.
Okay.
I'm now listening to reggae music.
And it's a vibe. It's the vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up the ganja part though, T. I'm glad you brought that up because I was glad that they didn't show so much of that because over the years his image has become like
anonymous,
kind of a caricature, and that is a whole thing in itself and a little bit irritating. So I'm glad that they didn't really lean into that. They showed parts of it, but more of like the spiritual side of it, which was why he was doing it. But all in all, I had a good time. I think the music is impeccable. The soundtrack is impeccable. I think Kingsley did everything he could with what he was given. I thought that the patois, the accents were on point. I could tell that he studied Bob's cadence and how he spoke. And he's not Bob. He's only going to do what he can do. He's an actor. So I am going to give this on a Queen Latifah. I had a good time. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's definitely the rum punch.
All right, let's close this out. I'm done.
I'm
glad somebody had a good time. I love positivity. We're trying to unite the people here.
That's right. One love.
Yeah.
Well, I have been TeaRon. You can find me on social media. On Instagram at TeaRon World, on TikTok at TeaRon with 2 underscores on the end. And of course, you can find Ubiquitous Blacks all over the socials as well. And you can also email us suggestions, share the love, whatever you want to email us as it relates to what we are doing here. Please do so. That's ubiquitousblacks@gmail.com. Tiera, where can they find you?
You can find me on my Instagram. It's at Tiera Takes, at TIERATAKES _. So that's at Tiera Takes _. Same thing for Gmail, at TieraTakes@gmail.com. And also all things Ubiquitous Blacks.
Joseph, are you ready to tell people where they can find you this time, or?
Not quite yet, but YouTube coming out soon. So if you guys see me again, I'm sure I'll drop out the domains. You guys will follow me some point, but just for now, we're gonna keep it mysterious still. But you guys will see me again, I'm sure.
Very Birdman.
I care. Well, this has been that, and we will see you next week with another review. Peace.
Later, guys.